guys, welcome back to MinnieMindyReacts, and on this channel I react to the hottest content here on YouTube, and I wanted to come back during Pride Month with a Pride related show. I'm so excited because if you guys didn't know, I am also a part of the LGBT community. And I wanted to just react to this show because this whole season was like crazy. And not only was it crazy, but it was very like mind-blowing to see like how some of the castmates think. So the show is called The Ultimatum Queer Love, and I am going to be reacting to one of the castmates break down the episodes episode by episode. And I'm so excited because Tiff Durr is one of my favorite castmates. So I wanted to go ahead and react to her because I've seen that she's breaking down the episodes, and I was like, who better to react to? So we're gonna get into the reaction with her and her friend. If you want to watch the video yourself without listening to my reaction, I will post a link down in the description box and you can watch it. But I'm so excited. We're on Phoebe's podcast, so we're gonna get into this. Also, if you hear my son in the background, he is happily playing in his room and he likes to sing and jump and scream, so you will be hearing that while this video is going. Hopefully not, but you will. And we're gonna get right into it because I'm so excited.
What's up, Weebs? God, we're gonna get better at that. Welcome to the Weebs podcast.
Welcome.
My name is Tiff.
I'm Gotti.
And we have some fucking tea to spill this week, baby.
Yes, 100%.
100%. This episode is going to be all dedicated just to the show called, what's it called?
The Queer Love.
The Queer Love. The Ultimatum Queer Love.
Hold on, not you not knowing what the name of the show is and you was on it. Like, let's get it together, babe. Let's get it together because, like, no. You gotta get it together, love.
We rewrote the branding a little bit now. Like,
yeah,
my bad.
We were in the car and I was like, oh, the Queer Love. I was like, wait, hold on. No, we're going to be recapping the Ultimatum Queer Love, which I just so happen to be on, and I don't even know the fucking name of it half the time.
The ADHD gets the best of us, so we just make up our own names.
Yeah, it does.
That's pretty much it.
But so tell me, because you're better at this. You're more the planner.
Yes.
What do we have going on today?
Well, first of all, we have a shout out to the two brands that we're wearing, which we're going to do in a couple seconds. So, shout out to Dapper Boy for making Tiff look fresh with the fit, looking fucking great.
Yeah.
Mine is the STEM brand. We're gonna link everything, and they just have a really freaking cool Pride drop. That's like the biggest thing. Obviously, Pride is next week Thursday, right? June 1st. Whatever June 1st is.
Thursday.
Pride, I think next week Thursday is when Pride drops. So, Pride drops. The merch for Pride drops.
Where people get proud.
People get super proud. I mean, we're always proud 24/7, but we get prouder as the year goes on. Yeah. Does Dapper Boy have a new launch coming out soon, or do you know?
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of new merch coming in soon.
Awesome. So they're more of like an athleisure brand, like, you know, cool sweatsuits, cool shirts, a lot of like oversized fit.
For genderless clothing.
Yeah, exactly. And then yours, Dapper Boy, is more...
sorry, Dapper Boy's more genderless clothing.
Yeah, genderless clothing.
We'll have the links to that in our beacons for
So shout out to Dapper Boys and the STEM brand, and we are going to link everything. I have a coupon code. I don't know if Dapper Boy gave you a coupon code, but if they did, we'll reach out and we'll link everything for you guys so you guys can, but they've been good to us, so we're going to be good to them. But other than that, that's out of the way. I have a shit ton of questions. I like to always say civilian because I'm in the military, but that's not it. I'm a fan, not a civilian. I am a fan of Queer Love Ultimatum, so I have...
It is the Ultimatum Queer Love!
God damn it! Yeah. Okay, so I am going to play devil advocate. I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to be like, well, I saw this, I saw that, and you're kind of like my inside person. So I'm going to be probably saying all of the off the wall, off the rail shit because I can, and I'm not designated by an NDA from Netflix. And Tiff is going to say as much as they possibly can without spoiling anything, because obviously we're all here to watch episodes 1 through 4, 4 through 8 that's dropping next week, and then also the reunion, but also give us more insight of how things are going behind the scenes.
Yeah, like kind of like how I see it through my experience.
Honestly.
And like, so like, I would say like, Gaddy, you know my entire life. Yeah, so like, obviously you have my friend perspective, but we're gonna use Gaddy today as like as
the
if you're just the soundboard, the unbiased fucking person, and then I'm going to be the person. We're just doing the disclaimer right now. The person that's like looking at it like in through a microscope of like what my experience there was based on what you all see on the edit.
100%. And that has nothing to do with Tiff being my friend, me knowing Tiff, me having a rapport with Tiff, because I knew Tiff before I even know that they had this show. They were on this show, and then one day they were like, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are you going to tell me? And then that's how it happened. So this is just my unbiased opinion. So let's get into it. So let's do it. Let's bring up the original couples. The original couples. Let's go over the original couples. Okay. So it's you and Mildred. So Tiff and Mildred are one couple. Then you have Lexi and Ray, which is another couple. Then you have Yoli, you have Yoli and Mal. Yeah. And then you have Ozzy and Sam. Ozzy. You have Ozzy. You have Ozzy and Sam.
Ozzy and Sam.
And then I'm missing one. Xander and Vanessa. Okay. So 5 couples.
Yeah.
And you each intermingle. Yeah. We already went over this.
So so like I want like a couple hits.
Okay.
Just like quick power 2-3 sentences. What's your first impression of every fucking couple?
Okay.
And then I'll give you mine in the experience
before you guys
of when I met them.
Okay, so this is before you guys intermingled.
Like when we met, when you see like we're at like that evening where we all meet at the tables, that's actually when we all met. Okay. You know, when the host came out and everything. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna give you my impression of when I was in my own body.
Yes. Okay, so my unbiased opinion, I'll just start off with you, Mildred, just because I know you. When you guys first came out, I understood where Mildred was coming from. The whole, I'm a single mom thing. We've been together for X amount of time. We live together, but I was like, okay, cool. Like, I feel for this girl. Like, I've also been a married lesbian. I get it, what it's like to want to be in a relationship again. But I also understand your perspective when you were just like, I don't want to go into a marriage with X, Y, and Z things happening. So from both perspectives, I was like, okay, Tiff has a valid point, and Mildred also has a valid point. So either they need to come to common ground and establish a timeline to be together. But at that point, there was no red flags that there was, somebody was, there was any other problems in the relationship other than you guys weren't on the same timeline. So I was like, oh, that's an easy fix. Like, they're probably going to come out of
communication.
Communication. They're going to come out here fucking married. That was my very first impression. Lexi and Ray, same fucking thing.
Not to shade, like, yeah, right, bitch. Because the way she left was like, yeah, absolutely fucking not.
The only thing is Ray seemed a little bit more flakier because you had a reason why you didn't want to be married. You're like, I don't want X, Y, and Z problem. I want there to be communication. Like, I want there to be blah, 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 blah. You had bullet point to back up what it was, why it was that you weren't okay getting married today if you had to.
Got it.
Lexi and Ray, on the other hand, Lexi was like, this is what I want, this is blah, 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 and Ray was kind of like, well, I don't really know yet. Like, and I know it's now because she's a more reserved person, and she's also kind of more, she's a lot quieter, she kind of keeps her feelings to herself. She's like Vanessa says, she's an onion to peel.
Yeah, I thought that off of first impression, I thought that Ray was just one of those, like, go with the flow kind of people. So to see that, she not being forced, but like being given an ultimatum, I can see how that would make her feel uncomfortable because she's just like, I'm just trying to let go with the flow and kind of like pass time and see where it goes versus her partner like, no, this is what I want and this is what you need to do in order to make sure that I'm happy here. So like, I get her perspective.
So, and that's what it was. Like, I kind of got it from, like, I'm like, does she even give a fuck about Lexi? Like, why is she, like, not with her? Like, this girl obviously cares so fucking much about her. Like, why the fuck are they not married already? Yeah. Right? You know, successful lesbians are hard to find. Also, successful lesbians are hard to find. So I'm like, you know, they complement each other. They're athletes. Crazy. But I'm dead serious. It's serious. And so I was like, okay, she needs to fucking make up her mind. Yeah. When we get to Yoli and Mel, I was like, love their fucking vibe, love the melanin. They probably like fuck like crazy in bed. And then when I was listening to all these things, I was just like, oh, like maybe they don't. Like maybe it was just like that's the aesthetic that they look like, but in the inside, that's not really the dynamic of their actual relationship.
That's how you saw it from the surface.
100%. Yeah. And then, obviously, watching episodes 1 through 4, I was just picking up on certain things. Like, I could tell Yoli 100% loves Mel. I understand the hesitation that Mel has, but it's not... Is Mel a Virgo?
Yes.
All right, so my ex
So it's Mel.
Virgo. Mel.
Yeah, I think you said Mel.
I did say Mel.
Yeah, Mel.
Yeah, Mel. My bad, Mel. So my ex was a Virgo, so I get it. I understand wanting to have things in line and having an appendix for your life ready to go. And I think that's where Mel was coming from. Mel.
Wait, I don't understand that quote. An appendix?
An appendix. Like, okay, like, you know when you look at it, like an appendix, like in a book.
Oh, I think you meant like an appendix.
No.
I got it, like, for a second, but sometimes it takes someone else a little speed to, like, pick up.
The appendix, like the body part.
Medical, but like an appendix.
Oh my god. Okay.
So like an appendix, like wanting to make sure you have, like she was like, oh, she wants a college kid fund, or she wants this, or she wants that, all in place.
Like it's more logistical.
But that's how a Virgo operates. If those needs are not being met, then they're not going to be feel secure in the relationship, be happy in the relationship, and also to that comment that Yoli can fall in love with anybody as long as she
I think Mel said that at the on the interview.
Yeah. But even in the episode when they were introducing the couples, I was just like, oof, that's also for a Virgo, for somebody who's going to plan all of these things with you. If they're feeling that, not is it just like an internal feeling that they need to work on, it's also something that needs to be worked on in the relationship, because the relationship is not going to progress. It's going to be stagnant. It's going to be at a standstill, and that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, it's scary because as I watched throughout the season of the Ultimatum Queer Love, I seen what Mal was talking about. Like, it was very easy and I feel like that's how it is in a lot of like LGBT queer relationships, where there's always one person that's like willing to fall over the little things, or willing to, compromise over the little things in order to be happy. And with Yoli, I can see how, someplace always feeling like the grass is greener on the other side is her thing. Like, everywhere the grass is greener is where she's gonna be. And sometimes you have to water that grass in order for it to stay green. Like, you can't always chase wherever the best green patch is. Like, so I get where Mal is coming from. Like, what makes me so different than everyone else? So I get it.
Ozzy and Sam, they were just cute as fuck, and I was like, y'all Asian. Y'all, you just Asians stick together, just like Hispanics stick together. I just didn't understand why they weren't married yet. Yeah. I just didn't get it. I still don't think I understand it. Yeah. Like, I understand it a little bit more once we got to like episode 3 and 4 when Sam was like I value my opinion for my friends, and the thought of being with one person is a scary thought. Mm-hmm. That's a limiting belief that she has within herself. And I think that she was kind of just projecting that onto the relationship. Yeah. And this is just
I think, and this is also just my opinion, I think that the thought of being with one person can be very scary, but I feel like it also needs to be that right person, because once you find the person that you can actually see yourself with for the next 50, 75 years, if we make it that long, you don't see anything else. You wouldn't want to imagine life any other way. And sometimes it takes for two people to come to that realization, like, you're the hell yes that I've always wanted. So, that's just my opinion on it.
You know, she could also be a fucking onion, like, right, have a bunch of other different reasons. But like from what I've heard, and this is all edited clips that are clipped together to make the episodes. But if you care about the opinion of your friends that much, and you are also being like, hey, I'm scared of being together with somebody forever, then maybe you shouldn't be in a long-term committed relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Okay, so we're
missing somebody. Xander and Vanessa.
Oh, yeah.
Xander and Vanessa. Vanessa, I'm not throwing no shade, girl, okay? I know people giving you grief.
And we gonna give her hella grief. Because what the fuck? Like the manipulation was like at an all-time high. Like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the whole season, even up until like the reunion, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was just like mind fucks all throughout the season. And excuse my language for being so vulgar, but it definitely like mind fucked me like so much, like the whole Vanessa and Xander thing. And I had even commented on Xander's TikTok, like, you better not still be with Vanessa, because like, but this was before I actually seen the reunion, because I was just like, the amount of manipulation and like trying to control how Xander views things and how she actually feels, and like, how she's so above, drove me fucking insane. So like, the fact that she was with her for so long dealing with that shit, like, I was just like, bro, like, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not.
People are saying the fucking bullshit that they're saying. We don't, this is only episodes 1 through 4. I know you're getting a lot of fucking backlash. You, and I mean this with the utmost respect, I feel like you come off as a not later in life lesbian, but it's like, hey, I came out later. Xander's kind of the only person I've been with. I want to go fuck shit and fuck bitches and go do all these fucking things because I have not been able to experience the dating pool out in the lesbian world.
I think they were together for a long time.
Well, that also too, like, if that's her actual real girlfriend and the only individual that she's been with is her, it's not, and I love her personality. Yeah, she's free, she's wild, because it's very similar to my personality, but also, like, I feel like I'm a very loyal person, so when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, cool, we have all of the same attributes and the same traits and the same characteristics, but, like, I felt like she was, like, a baby lesbian, like, okay, cool, I might have this perfect person in front of me, and this might be the person that wants to give me all of these things, but I'm not ready to settle down because I don't know what else the world has to offer.
Yeah.
And that's how it comes off. And that might not be the dynamic that you have in your house, but that is exactly how it comes off. And it comes off as Xander, like, I'm a physical therapist, and I've got my fucking shit together, and I'm a successful lesbian, and all I want to do is spend my life with this person, After we both figured out we're queer or gay or lesbian or whatever the fuck you guys identify as, and they're willing to do all these things and settle with you, and it's like, no. So it's kind of like you got this perfect package and you're willing to risk it all on the line. And let me tell you, lesbians out there are sketch. Like, they all look cute, but sometimes they ain't got shit to offer.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have this person that's offering you everything, but that might not be your person.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that's also it. But
yeah. So, okay, so that's your perspective based on what you saw on the edit, what you saw, I hate saying that word, but what you saw when you watched the show back.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to go through like my first impressions of not what I see on TV, but when the night that you like see all of us at the cocktail tables and we're all looking really nice and Joanna comes out. So like me in my body,
what you felt.
Because in that moment where you saw that, that is actually when we all actually met. Like we actually saw each other for the first time.
Okay.
So, we came like up one-on-one in the tables and like all kind of this. So like, let's see, who we're going to start with. So I remember when we came up to the tables, we were told by production, like, hey, you're going to come up to the cocktail table and there's going to be a couple that greets you, so just talk.
Yeah.
So it was Mildred and I, walked up and then it was Mal and Yoli first came up.
Okay.
My first impressions of Mal and Yoli, first of all, when I saw Mal, I was like, damn, Mal's tall, fucking good looking.
I wish I was
fucking
tall.
good looking. Yeah. I wish I was tall. Shit. Like competition shit. You know, like super fashionable, super this, super that. And I was like, immediately, I was like, oh, fuck.
Like,
man, like, God.
Yeah, I really loved Mal the whole season and just like her vibe with like how she was like processing things and like how she was like willing to work through things. I was like, yeah. I said Mal is that person. She's that person. Yoli fucked up, bruh.
I'm gonna go with Mal.
I think if Mildred had one type physically in the entire show, I think it would be Mal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it checked off all her boxes.
Yeah, I think like physical, like like physically. But then it's interesting because when Mal like opened her mouth, that sounds horrible. When Mal opened her mouth, like it's just like with this like sweet, calm energy of like, wow, like so emotionally intelligent, so like, and just so nice and genuine.
Yeah.
And you think that I'll be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. But when we're in this fucking ultimatum thing, I'm like, ah, fuck, like, goddamn it, like, they check out the boxes even more with Mildred, goddamn it. So, you know, but, like, so it's this kind of, like, thing, like, you want to be genuine, you are.
But then, you get nervous inside.
You get nervous inside, it's weird, yeah. And then, with Yoli, you know, I saw her, I was like, oh, she's really pretty. And,
well, you like Latinas, so.
Yeah, I like Latinas, yeah. And then.
Tiff likes melanin.
And then, yeah, like, she's very fashionable, and then I just remember them as a couple together.
Yeah.
I think they came off a very confident couple, definitely, like a very confident, solid.
Yeah, they walk in and you're just like, oh, like they're there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so moving along, you know, Lexi and Ray, I didn't get to talk to them really the first night, but Lexi and Ray, first of all, I just saw like a very tall blonde girl with big boobs, and I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, she's very tall.
She's taller than me.
How tall are you?
5. I tell people 5'9".
I want to say she might be a little bit taller, 5'10". I can't, don't quote at me. I think she may be 5'9", 5'10". I forget, but she's tall. She's tall. I think she's the tallest on the cast.
Okay.
So I saw her, and then I saw Ray, and then I couldn't really gather too much about them the first night, but
I feel like it's hard to read.
Well, it's hard to read, yeah, but also I'm not actually, we didn't get a chance to actually talk to them that night. But I do know, I guess that what I picked up right away is that they're the two femmes of like, the group. Yeah, and it's interesting, like, the dynamic of that, right? So I didn't really get that much from them the first night. Everybody seemed like, to me as a whole, like, nervous but happy to be there at the same time.
Okay.
And then
like excited, but like like.
And then we have Xander and Vanessa. Xander to me came off like very clean cut in presentation, clean cut in happiness and confidence and everything. Vanessa to me came off like a little flirty, like she just had a bubbly personality immediately.
Yeah, and the way she was like, oh, Mal, I'll see you on our date or whatever, or a trial marriage. I can't remember exactly what she said, but I was like, bitch. And I know Yoli wanted to slap the hell out of her, but not for her violence. But the way she was like, yeah, Mal, I'll see you at our trial marriage. Like, girl, absolutely not. First of all, it's disrespectful as fuck to Xander. But like, and I get that, like, it's an experience and all of that. Like, no.
Immediately.
Yeah,
and I felt the same way.
She was very like but her energy was like very warm. She was just talking, and like I know she was talking to the host a lot and things like that. And then fucking Aussie and Sam, is that the last one? Aussie and Sam, they came up like cute and quiet to me. Yeah, cute and quiet to me. I remember we're filming, like Aussie was like hugging Sam the entire time,
and I was just like, they're so cute.
And
like,
I knew immediately that they were going to be like I knew immediately Aussie, I'm a very I'm very emotional on the show, but like I saw that Aussie was going to be emotional too. I was like, holy shit,
like it's not just me.
Yeah, I remember this one time we were like in the middle of talking in that whole thing, in that whole scene, and I don't think it was shown, but it was funny because like Aussie opened their mouth and they were like, that reminds me of you, mate, or something that I said. And then I was like, how so? And like, they just started like breaking down crying on the set, and I'm like, but in a genuine like way.
Yeah, genuine way.
And then so I think the last couple is Mildred and I, and like obviously like without getting too much into it, like I think, you know, you guys might see it different. I feel like Mildred and I came into that night and just how our relationship was like,
fragile,
hey, solid couple with each other. We never had to deal with third parties.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Solid couple with each other, but we just weren't able to be as vulnerable with each other because of the communication dynamics. And if you are in a very like combated, heated relationship, it's hard for like two parties to both put on their walls at the same time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in the relationship, I feel like Mildred would, you know, like the 2 years prior, would, you know, have times where she's being soft and then like I'm being more of like the heated one, or, you know, because it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, or you being this or this,
kind of
and it's just and it's like I feel like it was so hard for us to be both in sync at the same time. So I think when we entered this experiment, it just like, what I'll say right now is just, it just busted everything open because we didn't have a choice to be all of a sudden like, you close up, no, I don't close up. Like everybody was just like, all right, we are in this experiment.
The floodgates have opened.
The floodgates have opened. Welcome to the fucking lesbian apocalypse. Let's just go. The lesbian rapture. Let's just fucking open the gate.
So that's day one.
Yeah.
Obviously, couple days pass by. It gets super emotional when everybody has to then pick their partners, right? Yeah. Obviously, that was. I love the comment when you're just like, there's too much fucking estrogen.
Oh yeah,
like
we're swimming in a pool of estrogen.
Yeah. And so my thought was, that was an intense episode because, and again,
what
this is production, episode 2, maybe
episode 2.
Episode 2.
Okay, like people are still dating?
People are already done dating. They're picking their partner. So it's end of 2 going into 3.
Okay. Yeah. After the choice night, like after
on choice night.
Okay.
I thought it was fucking wild the way everything was going. Like the way that Lexi got upset with Vanessa and kind of like attacked Vanessa, and then Yoli chimed in, then Mildred chimed in, and then poor fucking Xander comes and he's like, she goes, you don't understand her the way that I do, blah, 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 blah. Like that's not her intentions. That's not what's happening. And it's a weird dynamic because they had already picked their couples. Yeah. And they had already picked who they were going with. And for you to still stand up for the person that you love that is now your ex, it was just like a weird ass dynamic.
I will say to Xander's defense, are you saying that Xander was like sticking up for Vanessa?
Yeah, and I think that was right.
I will say to that defense, I mean, like, it's kind of like how I was like confessing my love to Mildred at the table, because this time period of dating is like so intense and it's such a fragile experiment.
I think too, it's hard to, like, not to cut it off right there, but I think too, it's hard to separate how you ultimately feel about the person that you love. Especially when there's multiple people attacking them. Like, for example, my son's mom, I don't give a shit about what happened between me and her, why we are no longer together or whatever, but any person that comes trying to attack her, like, I'm gonna be on edge simply because at the end of the day, I still love that person. And, you know, you always want to protect people that you love, and regardless of how much they've hurt you or how they have not hurt you or whatever, you always want to be in the mode to protect them, because in most instances, that's a lot of our character traits. Like, we want to be able to protect our partners when we love them. So I can see why Xander stuck up for her, like, no, this is not that. But at the same time, as an outsider looking in, we see Vanessa in a whole different lens, because she comes off as manipulating, she comes off as antagonizing, and when we care about our friends as well, we want to make sure that, you know, they're not caught in the crossfire. So, like, I understand Yoli and all the other castmates attacking Vanessa, but I also get why Xander felt the need to protect her, because outside of this, whether we choose to stay with each other or not, I don't want you to ever feel like I don't have your back. And I feel like that was Xander's point. Like, regardless of whether they stay or they go together, um, I don't want you to ever feel like I didn't love you enough to protect you. So, yeah.
Literally what it is. Like, the best way I can describe it is, yes, it is a social experiment, but with that being in mind, within the boundaries of this social experiment, it was very real.
Well, and it is real.
Yeah, it is real. Yeah. But I'm saying, like,
relationship.
Like, it's not just like, oh, this is what we're going through. Like, we're just.
It was intensified.
Yeah, it was very intensified and very accelerated, and it was real.
Gotcha.
Like, it's so real. Felt so real. But I would say, like, to Xander's defense, that's your person for
100%.
what, 4 or 5 years.
100%.
So to go through the experiment, regardless of however so-and-so is feeling treated or this or whatever happens on what you see or whatever happened really in real life, like, that is still your person.
That's still your person no matter what. Just because you've not been together for 48 hours doesn't mean that you sit there and you don't defend them. If that was my girlfriend, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, and like for me, it was like,
I would have fought a bitch.
I mean, for me, just coming in, like going through the whole dating process and everything, I was going through the dating process, talking about marriage and going into these deep conversations that we don't have in real life. It's so accelerated, right? So I'm getting to this point where I'm like, oh my God, and there's this overwhelming self-awareness that comes onto all of us as we're going through. So we're thinking, not only are we thinking, okay, like we're learning more about marriage and everything, but we're learning a lot about ourselves, and we're reflecting back of like, okay, am I showing up the best way I can for a marriage? Are we starting to see contrasts, and we're starting to see all this stuff?
This is good because you're able to reflect. Like, you and I talk about reflection all the time because of our past relationships, but like I feel like it's reflection times 10 because this is not like a 3-month period where you're just like, oh, I realized like I might not have been the aggressor, but I might have been the trigger. Like, this is happening in a matter of days.
You start to realize, is it me, is it her, or is it both of us? Or like, like when it comes to the dynamics of your relationship, and then you're not even allowed to see the person. We weren't allowed to like even look at the fucking person. Like, we had like these production people like kind of keeping us away at all times. So like there wasn't any time we could like sneak off, during the dating period and be like, oh, like what are we doing? Like we just don't know. So your partner could be like literally falling in love with somebody and you just have no fucking idea. 100%. So it's all very fragile. But like at the choice night, like I'm just kind of like, thinking, holy shit, like my feelings of, like I'm not gonna sit here and propose to her, but I'm not gonna lie and say that like I thought about marriage so much during the time period, and I thought about just like our dynamics and just like I miss her, and like there's this thing like I don't think I was really worried at the point that she was gonna like fall in love with someone else. I think by the choice I was like, I don't feel like she has this connect. Yeah, but like you just never know. Yeah. Like my gut said no, but the whole point of me like kind of going out and like spilling my heart out wasn't necessarily at that point because I felt like she was going to fall for someone. It's just like we're all so vulnerable and fragile, and me on top of being an emotional person, those feelings just didn't go away. No, it didn't go away. So like I'm just being honest with everybody at the fucking table. Like I'm trying to open up, but it is.
And not even that, like going through a whole like experience, like dating other people while being broken up or whatever, it's changing because and it's very confusing because like you start, questioning a lot of things like, damn, like, is this the person that I really want to be with? Coming across other people that are willing to give you whatever you've been asking this person for so long, and just a few days is like wild. It's a wild experience, but you have to understand too that sometimes what may seem like a full glass of milk may only be a half, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but like, sometimes somebody saying, oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do this, and then once you actually get with that person, they may not do all those things. So that's something you have to be mindful of, especially, you know, for Yoli, um, you know, you're falling in love with all these people because they're willing to give you whatever makes you feel good right now in that moment. But understand that sometimes those feel good moments, they go away. And then there's going to be another time where you may come across someone else that is capable of making you feel good in a different way. And like, then you're going to be going through all these emotions because your feelings are spread out between so many people. Like, it's almost better to just work through and try to water the grass where you are, because at least you know what you're dealing with. And I'm not saying stick with that person through infidelities. I'm not saying stick with that person through, you know, unhappiness, but figure out what it is that makes you fall so fast and so deeply for other people, and how to, you know, communicate that in your current relationship.
It's so fucking hard. And that's why you see me like apologizing to Sam, because, you know, Sam and I ended up picking each other. But like, I'm saying to Sam, I'm like, I am so, like, I'm so sorry. You know, like, I might not be able to open up my heart but fully, but the little bit I have, like, I'm gonna give it all to you. I'm gonna try, you know, but I like,
and I respect that, and I respect you saying that to her, and then I also respect Vanessa trying to make amends with Lexi, and Lexi was like, nah, bitch, I ain't fucking having it. Yeah. You know?
And by the way, please, like, what you see on the screen, please call me out. If by the way, if you're like, oh, like, Tiff, you were dumb as shit, like, go ahead, go for it.
But my thing, which is interesting, is that you ended up with Sam. Sam was the one that gave Ozzy the ultimatum.
Yes.
It was funny to me that Mildred ended up with Ozzy, and Ozzy was like, I don't want to get married. And then it was the same thing with Ray and Vanessa.
But no. Ozzy, remember Ozzy during the dating process of going on a date with Mildred, like all of a sudden was like, I
could see myself getting married.
Yeah, like the concept of marriage is more appealing.
Yeah. And then it's just like Vanessa and Ray, who both were like, I don't fucking know, ended up together. Mm-hmm. And it's just the dynamic of it. I was just like, oh fuck. And then we have Lexi, who ended up with Mal, and I was like, okay, like, maybe Mal was just unsure of Yoli, not that she's unsure of marriage.
I think too that sometimes when you get with like different people, like, you could say, oh, I don't want to be married, I don't want this, I don't want that. But sometimes when you get with different people, it changes your perspective on things simply because of how you interact with that person. And if marriage is one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I could really do without it, you might come across somebody that'll make you do like a whole 360. Like, I really cannot see myself with anybody else except this person. And it will make you question, like, damn, is it really that I didn't want to get married, or is it really that this person just might not be my person? Like, these are all very real things that do happen. So, like, you know, I don't want to say that it's easy to change, but sometimes it can be, depending on you talking to another person and realizing that it is probably what you want.
Perspective that I got when she started talking to Lexi. Like, when they were talking about, like, have you ever dated somebody like me? Like, da-da-da-da, and she was...
But you do see, so there's a lot of, from what I remember, a lot of logistic reasons why Mal wasn't ready to get...
it wasn't that she didn't feel it.
Yeah, but do you remember also seeing when Lexi and Mal paired up? There was like a lot. I remember Mal saying like, well, all those rules that I had in my head, I'm actually like,
I'm breaking them, I'm bending them.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious. I forget the whole entire scene, but I'm kind of curious now of like, why
what were those parameters?
Was it Lexi that may have like, I honestly forget. I'm not speaking of like in the certain perspective.
I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, but like I'm wondering if it was the dynamic that Lexi and Mal had together that made her rethink, or was it just Mal's whole experience maybe of talking about marriage, and we're all full time talking about marriage and everything that it started opening up more too.
It could be one or two, and we won't know until we have Mal. We won't know until we have Mal on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So we can go take a deeper dive into that. But yeah, it's just the dynamics of who ended up with who at the very end, because I was like, it was just like, okay, this person might not be your type physically, but compatibility wise, they might be like the best partner for you.
I could see that. I could see like, yeah, I remember Lexi and Mal having a really close bond.
But that's my thing too. Like you can be 100% compatible with just as friends.
Yeah,
you won't know that until after. Like you could be 100% compatible, but there not be any physical attraction.
Yeah, or a romantic attraction or something
romantic
like that.
attraction. Yeah,
but then
there are also periods where like you may feel like, oh, this person is like the best person for me because like we're the same person, but like there are always going to be some differences when it comes to compatibility. I can't say the fucking word right. Compatibility. There's always going to be some difference. You're not going to be compatible in every area. And sometimes, when it comes down to compatibility, there's going to be difference in boundaries. There's going to be difference in views. There's going to be difference in how you do things and how you navigate through life. That may not always be compatible with the person that you're trying to have this compatible nature with. So, you know, you could be compatible with a fucking devil, but that doesn't mean that you need to be with that person. So I feel like just basing things off of compatibility can also be very detrimental to a lot of relationships because we're not gonna, especially as we evolve as humans, we're not gonna always be compatible all the time. And that's what people need to understand too. Like what may be, compatible right now may not be compatible in the next 5-10 years. So like, yeah, it's important to have, kind of the same likes and kind of the same, mutual understandings to things. But a lot of relationships take a lot of compromise. And sometimes, compatibility levels change.
Different too. For me, I kind of know if I'm going to be into somebody immediately or not.
Yeah, me too.
To some people,
they don't know.
It's progressive, right?
Yeah.
Like you can like be like, I don't know, but I'm saying like maybe Mal said to Lexi like, oh shit, like Lexi's like beautiful, and then Lexi might be to Mal like, hey, Mal's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know, meanwhile you just break up with your exes, right? So that's on the line, but you have your heart in those areas, but then like also you're coming in and you're like, I don't know what this is, but let me try to explore it, and see where we go from there.
And see like,
and everyone's different. Like everyone might be able to, like feelings might be able to progress with people.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about who you came on the show with, who you left with as your trial marriage partner, kind of what those dynamics were. What's like the scoopy scoop you can give us? And like, I don't know, just in the entire
I don't know.
Episodes 1 through 4.
1 through 4.
What should we be watching out for? What should we be paying close attention to? Like, I know that attention to detail is everything. Like, come on, lesbians, get it together.
Yeah. Okay, maybe maybe to foreshadow next season without not next season. Next
4
week.
through 8.
Yeah, so I guess from a personal perspective.
Yeah.
Of what I'm kind of seeing, and then kind of like intertwining that with the edit. Jesus Christ, with what we see.
Yeah.
I guess what I would say to the viewers is like pay attention and know that anything can happen. Like in the next
anything's
like
fair game.
Anything's fair game. Filming for 2 months. You're going to see the best come out in you, and you're going to see the worst come out in you. We got like 10,000 hours of footage of camera, and I'm telling you, like right now, if your life was to be filmed with your significant other for 2 months, almost every single day around the clock, because we also have Nest cams, PS, in the house, don't tell me that one time that you didn't fucking bicker at your homegirl, that you didn't have nagging, that you once didn't get passive aggressive, and that's if you're in a very healthy marriage. Good for you, but perhaps don't tell me that cannot. So that all gets condensed into like 4 or 5 scenes with your trial marriage partner. So it's gonna bring out the best and it's gonna bring out the worst. So what I'm trying to say is that like, don't be surprised if you're latching on to a person. If you're like team this person, team that person, team this person.
That might not be your team.
That might not be your team.
their fuck ups or... Hold on, y'all. I want to make sure this ain't me. Oh, it's them. It's them. Try to... Yeah, it's them. Hold on, y'all. Trying to get it. I don't want to skip it.
Person, I guarantee nobody's gonna know that I don't like her because I feel like they think that her and I are very similar.
Yeah.
But it's really that. I think that's what makes it weirdly weird that I don't fuck with her right now.
Yeah.
But now, but like you just said, if it's gonna change and the paradigm shifts are gonna happen in 4 through 8, I'm like super intrigued on who's going to get voted off my island and who I'm going to accept.
Yeah. It's definitely like, I mean, anything could switch. You kind of saw that on, if you watch Love is Blind, right?
Yeah. And I don't. I'm not a reality.
Yeah, but, you know, same production company. If you watch Love is Blind, I remember, like...
And I do watch Love is Blind.
As far as what the viewers saw, at least, everyone loved this girl, Jackie. Like, one... like episode 1 through whatever, and then the next week all of a sudden like she was like a villain or something like that. Like I don't know, it's just weird.
A bitch.
Yeah, well, no. But yeah, so like anything can happen, and just like I would say for just all of us and all the cast members, it was, what I will say is that I feel, I could speak for multiple people, but I feel like all of us learned so much about ourselves on that experience. We had so much self-awareness brought to us. Because if you think about it too, it's not just our crazy experience that we're going through and us talking about marriage and how it all reflects back to us and how we can show up better for our partners and yada yada. But also the reality of it is also there's a camera crew in there, and it, to an extent, we can't get around it when you have 7 people in a room with you. Well, it makes you kind of think about what you're going to say, but then again, you do forget sometimes.
Yeah. So my question to you is, when we're watching these episodes, you said that's 10,000 hours of like footage. You have the Nest cams and all that bullshit. So like when you guys were picking your couples, or like when you guys were doing stuff and like it would go to like, and I'm just going to use Vanessa purely as an example, like when like people were like feeling like upset or whatever, it would flip to Vanessa and Vanessa was just like smiling, and I'm like, are they doing this for dramatic effect? Or was Vanessa really smiling the whole time? Like they were doing it like in a sense of like, because it gives her a villain look.
Yeah, you're right.
Like they're painting Vanessa as like the narcissistic villain who doesn't, and that's the impression that I had of you. Sorry, babe, but it's the truth in the beginning. And I was like, oh my God.
That's the impression I had too, because I was like, if they're all coming down on her like this, why is she smiling? Like it gives that she had an ulterior motive because she ultimately felt like Xander couldn't find anyone there better than her. So to even think that, oh, Xander might create this super connection with Yoli, it was giving that she was very much there to like fuck things up, because she didn't think that Xander would ever completely get with someone that she might actually like outside of Vanessa.
God, fucking Xander's like, why is she doing this? And then she gets upset when Xander goes to her and is like, oh, like I think I like this person, or this person's good to me, and then like you lose your ever loving shit and you start fucking. That's the first time I saw you cry ever.
Yeah.
Everybody else cried when they were getting ready to lose their partner, when it was the last night for them to be with their partner. And you lost your shit when they said that they were going to pick another person because they felt X, Y, and Z. So it's just...
And she was at the damn table telling Xander to fuck off. Like, how are y'all about to pick your trial partners and you're telling the person that you love, that you claim you care about, to fuck off? Like, that's crazy.
It was portrayed on.
So like one thing I can't do. But it's so funny because when you have your own podcast, it's a little different, right? So like when you're on a podcast talking about your experience on a reality show, it's funny because I'm sure you have like someone in your corner or someone being like, oh, like I don't want to,
green light,
you know,
red light,
yeah, exactly. But for me, like I'll just, since this is our fucking podcast, I'll just say flat out, like I cannot say whether something actually happened or it actually didn't happen. So if I can't say, like for instance, right? Okay. Perfect example. I'm fucking bawling my eyes out at the choice.
Yeah.
And then when Mildred gets up and walks out, you see Vanessa smirk.
Yeah.
I can't tell you whether that really happened or not in real life.
Well, because your focus was on your babe, your boo.
Yeah. But way that everything's put together, I cannot say that never actually happened. It happened at a different time, or it happened at this time. So, like, I can't just speak on that. You know what I'm saying? And
also, too, this was a while ago, so it could also be blurred, too. Like,
it can be blurred,
damn, did she do that, or did she not do that? And... Okay, it makes sense.
So that's like kind of like how it is. But what was your question before that?
Pretty much that. Like, are those edits and are those clips in real time, or are they just added in there for dramatic effect, or like is it a sprinkle of like?
I mean, what I will say is just it's reality TV. And all I'm going to say is Google reality TV and certain things, and then you'll just kind of...
saved,
or whoever else, I don't know. But but there are certain things, you know, like for instance, like...
But they did that to her all night. That's why I'm asking, because I'm watching it, and like poor Vanessa's face is plastered on Netflix, and I'm just like... Why is Vanessa making all these fucking faces after everybody fucking makes a couple?
Yeah.
Like, or is this just dramatic effect after, like, the bitches decided to get all spicy and, like, you know, be mean girls to her? Like, is this for dramatic effect?
Yeah,
or, like, what is happening?
This is what I will say, because I'm trying to think in my head what I can piece together.
Yeah.
Like, perfect example that I can think of. I don't mean to be, like, so ego-centered, but, like, I'm just going through my experience. There's so much to think about, right? So what I will say is, like, for instance, at the choice night, pay attention. Like, when you see my face and I start crying, pay attention to my face. That's all I'm going to say, because you'll see tears.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you won't see tears. And then you'll see my eyes red. And then you'll see my eyes being normal. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so you know how you have, like, this, like, with the fucking Ultimatum cups? And we're not going to get into that, but, like, you know, like, this is pretty condensed. You can stop. You know how you can, like, kind of see this?
Yeah.
And, like, you don't know whether everybody got drink and this and that.
Gotcha.
And I'm not going to go into that. That's the whole thing. But, like, you know, you can't hide your face and your tears and whether they get, like, red or not. So it's like, that's what I will say.
See, that's smart, because as a female and as a femme, I look for, does this bitch have her hair tucked behind her ears? Is her hair out of fucking place? Is she fly away somewhere? Yeah. Is her fucking lash falling off at the end of the night? Like, what is happening? Like, that's, as a woman, that's what I'm looking at. Because, like, you'll fuck around with, like, what you're wearing or whatever. You'll, like, fix your hair. Like, bitch, that curl was not in that spot in scene 2.
Yeah.
And we're technically still in scene 2.
And then you can also look at the outside. Does it get dark? Someone said in a comment, they're like, oh, I saw something get dark. And I'm like, you know, like, it was light out and then it got dark. You know, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. And then, so I, you know, with my experience with Sam through 1 through 4, I think she has such a gentle energy. I picked Sam because...
I feel like she's the opposite of Mildred.
Yeah. I think that's what my soul needed.
Yeah.
I naturally gravitate towards not take that back. I was like, do I like spicy energy and this? Yeah, la toxicas. Yeah. Do I like la toxicas? Yeah.
Sam, I know you probably don't know what this is, but you were Tiff's limpia. You were the golden egg that she goes to get from the I guess the limpia person, the botánico or whatever, like the brujo, the bruja, whatever you want to call it. And like, Sam was your little egg. Like, Sam was like the one that you rubbed all over your body.
Yeah.
And you were just like, crack it in the water.
Yeah, I got very nurturing vibes from Sam. Like, she was very, very, like, willing to listen and like willing to like give advice, but not like unsolicited advice. Like, she was just really willing to like help heal whatever Tiff had going on, and I really appreciated that, because like, you know, you could tell that Tiff was in a really rough place with, you know, not really wanting to try in this experiment, even when she met her best friend. Like, you can tell that she was not willing to open up and try because she didn't want to give up Mildred. And Sam was that person that was like, you know, it's okay. Like, if you don't want to like open up and try, like, I get it too. Like, we're in the same experiment together and I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do. And I really enjoyed that nurturing vibe from her. Like, you can tell that she really cared about Tiff and how she was feeling. The same with Mao and the other girl. Like you can tell that Mao also really cared about um that girl, and how helping her go through her emotions, and like these are quality people, and there are a lot of quality people out here, but it takes a lot to get to that point.
Oh,
And see
sweet. When we
who's,
were going
you
on
know,
our dates,
yeah.
oh my gosh, like such.
Like considerate and just present and just
Yeah.
a good person.
And we were dating, I think it was like 7, 8, 9 dates, something like that we were dating,
7, 8,
right?
9 dates.
Yeah, no, more than that. I mean, it was wild, right? So
Yeah.
like we started in the dating period, and then like towards the end, I would say like the last 2, 3 days,
Yeah.
we were down to 2 people. So I was down to, it was Yoli and I, and then it was Sam and I. And, like I liked both energies.
Yeah.
But I think like for me personally, I think when it came to Sam, she was something, and I'm not saying that Yoli is anything like Mildred or anything like that, but
Similar characteristics.
no, I wouldn't even say they're very different people. They're all very, yeah, she's very, very different. And I liked her energy. I just think that with Sam, I think my soul's journey was attached more to Sam, and I gravitated because I really wanted to learn about myself. Like, I really wanted to learn about myself and how I can better show up for Mildred, because you just see me like, oh, I'm so into this. So clearly, like, I was willing to explore a relationship or a connection with somebody, or
your
romantic
intent
feelings.
Was Mildred
at that point in time, at the choice, I didn't have any romantic feelings for anybody at that point.
And I think too, like I seen in one of the scenes where like you were trying to force a connection with Mildred by kissing her, and that's what she was saying too, that y'all have sex, and then let me not say that because then YouTube might block me, but you have these intimate moments and things go back to like being normal, but then they go haywire again. And if you're basing the connection of your relationship solely on intimacy, you have to find a different route. Like you need to find another way to build a connection, because the physical connection can be there, but emotionally she was finding other connections with other people. And that's a problem when you don't have that emotional connection to your person other than the physical connection that helps build that emotional connection.
Point. Okay. So I think just with Sam, that's what I needed. And when it comes to the dog situation, like when you're in a combative and a very heated relationship with someone for 2 years, 24/7, or almost 24/7, and you don't know how to let your guard down, and it's like you feel like you're, whoever's right, whoever's wrong, right? Like if you want to walk on eggshells, if there's all this stuff going on, and it's a very stressful relationship, and then you put in a stressful environment of filming. We didn't have our phones for 10 days or something like that. We were outside, like canceled on the outside world, filming like 16 hours a fucking day sometimes, and then all of a sudden, we're dumped into this trial of marriage, and we're like, hey, like, here you go. And when like you are like so busy, like you're a busy bee and you work 60 hours a fucking week, and you're like, and then all of a sudden you're off for like a week. It's like you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like, you don't know how to relax. You don't know how to anything.
Your body's like in like that hyper state mode, but everything else is just kind of like, you just need to chill, and you don't know how.
Well, on the flip.
Yeah, your body is so used to being in routine to whatever's going on that when you don't have that routine, you feel off balance. That's a very real thing.
Side, if you don't exercise for a whole year and you eat Twinkies all year, and all of a sudden they're like, get your ass on the treadmill, it's a shock to your body too.
It's a shock.
So when we're going back and forth, like, there's like these traumas that are like fight, flight, fawn, freeze, and getting on to that, and there's all these knee-jerk reactions and traumas that we start to build in our bodies. And when you're lost in the vortex with a toxic relationship, things become so normal to you that you're in the vortex and you don't even realize you're in it. Like, It's crazy because I didn't think that Mildred and I were that much in a toxic relationship when we came in. That's crazy.
Well, it's wild. It's wild. So
that's wild. That was my perception. I'm like, oh, we're good. We just love each other so much, and like all of a sudden, like watching it play back and
you were
hearing
just like, what the fuck?
I thought that we episode 1 through 4. I could have sworn when I saw it myself before the world saw it, I was like, we're gonna be the couple that looks like
that
to the public
makes through
and fights for each other, and like we just are obsessed with each other and love each other so much, and like there's all this stuff going on. Boy, was that a wake-up call, like, you know, when the whole world just starts to see who they're like, they're like,
this is my life.
They're the most toxic couple. Like we are, from my gathering, from what I'm understanding, all the feedback I'm getting, I think we're labeled as the most toxic couple. And I'm looking back and I'm like, I didn't actually expect like, boy, was I wrong.
It's wild though. It's wild because I had I wouldn't say toxic with my marriage. It's just kind of things didn't align after a certain time. But my very first toxic relationship was about like a year and a half ago. This individual that I dated after Linda and before Jen, and it just, that person was like, and you don't notice how toxic it is until you leave, and then you look back and you're like,
what the fuck?
Was I okay? Like, how did I survive?
Like what in the fuck?
Why?
Was this
I
a dream for 2 years?
Was I in just
even the situation? So that's the cool thing about this fucking experience.
You can reflect.
It's a detachment period. And I knew, like, when Mildred and I were coming on the show, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for us not to talk to each other and not get back with each other the next fucking day.
Yeah.
So it is, the cool thing about the show is it is a wake up call. So that can happen for the better or for the worse, depending on what the couple is.
I think that's a super interesting part, because like my thing is, like, you're either going to leave with your partner, you're going to leave single, or you're going to leave with a new individual. I don't think that a lot of people are going to leave with new individuals. That's just my perspective. I have no idea. Tiff and I have not talked about this. Just from the dynamics, I feel like maybe 1 or 2 couples might think about it. And we'll talk about how those 2 couples are 4 through 8. If I'm right, I will, But for the most part, I think that people are going to be like, I love myself more than ever, and I have self-respect and fucking boundaries, and I'm going to choose me. Or B, I have also self-respect enough for my partner to understand that if I'm not ready, I need to let them fucking go.
Yeah.
Or I'm having that internal realization that maybe I am the problem, and this entire time I've been projecting to somebody else that they've been nagging and complaining and bitching and doing all these things to me, when in reality I have an internal conflict that's not allowing me to give this individual what they need.
And during your growth process, while you're with your child partner, it might be a dual mutual thing of like, hey, I need to work on here, but actually here I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Here you need to work on this, but actually you weren't wrong here. And so how does that look like when you guys actually come back together? That's a big thing too. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the dog situation, when you're in a combative, heated relationship with someone for 2 fucking years, and it becomes so ingrained into your body, you become a byproduct of who you're romantically into for 2 years. It's like, yeah, you have your individuality, but then you start to, if it's toxic, you start to become a byproduct. It starts to become a knee-jerk reaction. You're constantly on eggshells. You're being defensive. You're this, you're that. And it's like you don't know how to settle down. So,
And it also takes a play on anxiety too, because constantly coming home and coming into that environment will fuck you up. Like, I've had instances where I've come home and had to walk right back out the door because I couldn't handle the energy that was inside my house. So, like, I get where you have to take that fight or flight, and you don't want to be in that type of relationship. And, you have to ultimately choose what's best for you. No matter how much you love that person, you don't want to be in a predicament of having to choose, yourself. But ultimately, that's what it comes down to, because you can't fight the person that you're with for the rest of your life.
To filming, to all the stresses of that. My dog actually, during the filming process, like my dog, whoever was babysitting her at the time, like had an eye issue, and on top of it,
the dog's name is Shiloh.
Shiloh,
I call the dog Shadow.
Shadow, yeah.
Shadow.
Oh my god.
Shadow. So if you ever hear that,
her name's Shiloh. Yeah,
Shadow. The dog's name is Shadow.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, this is not to excuse my behavior. Shiloh was constantly being moved because we were going from a resort to a hotel to an apartment to another apartment, and then like choice night we were being stationed at a hotel, and I counted the times that like I moved, actually packed up my suitcase and went.
Her
8 weeks, I think it was 12 times.
Poor baby.
I know, so she was stressed out.
She was probably like, bitch, we just fucking got
So she was stressed out. So basically what happened was, coming from a 2-year relationship, and then the stresses of the show, the stresses of production, the stresses of my dog being stressed out from constantly moving, to me at that time period, and everything being busted open the seams and me being vulnerable and us going through this crazy experience and not knowing if my ex is falling in love with somebody else, I felt like my dog Shiloh was my lifeline at that point. Was the most stable one because I wasn't stable. Literally, she is my emotional support animal. And I felt like she was my emotional support animal in the most time. During production, I actually got her for 2 nights, I think, during production. She was staying somewhere else. They're like, pets can't stay there. But I was like, she's my ESA. I need her now. I was like crying in my hotel room and everything. So she actually came with me for like 2 nights. But anyways, she was like sticking me together. So when I'm in that emotional state coming from a toxic relationship, I am...
She's your normal.
And when I feel like someone may not love her
the way you do.
The way I do.
Not that they don't love her, but it's just it's the standards that you have set for love.
And
for Shiloh. For Shiloh.
Yeah. When I feel like I'm not receiving that and that's my everything at that point, I didn't take that well. And the stresses of Mildred, I did project that out onto Sam, who was so sweet and so gentle and so kind.
But I'm glad that Sam stood her ground, because I will say, like, she heard, she listened, she allowed you to feel what you wanted to feel, and she also wrapped back around and said, hey, I'm not okay with how it is that you feel about me, because those are your feelings.
And
I am nurturing and I'm not and loving to animals, and I am not that person, nor am I that person that you made up in your mind. I'm still this person. And you're choosing to see that based on your past experience, but I'm choosing to sit here and move on and go through this, because it's always fucking awkward when you have to have that confrontational thing. I am not that person. I will never be that person. I am who I am, and this is what I stand for. And she did that very well.
She's an amazing communicator, and I feel like I've learned a lot from her about communication and how I show up. 2 things I will say is that, when after we had that argument, right? I remember later that night we were going out to dinner, which you see in the next scene, and there was like a 2-hour gap between that, and that's the most fucking awkward thing, right?
Well, because you're trying to get ready for dinner.
Yeah, you're trying to get ready for dinner, and you know that you're going to be on film. You know you're going to be filmed to like, oh shit, we're scheduled to film at like 7 or something at Inside Out, and I'm like, god damn it, and we're getting ready, and we're like silent, we're like, and I remember the moment that my walls went down with Sam was that moment when we were getting ready and we had about a 30-minute space gap where we didn't talk to each other or something. And I remember me just chewing her ass out. She said to me, she goes, hey, I know you were very mad and very upset, and you have every right to feel the way you feel.
And however,
however, what happened doesn't change the way I feel about you. And because Sam is so emotionally intelligent that she saw through
what had happened.
My habits. It's like inside. She was looking at the bigger picture of what was going on with me. She could tell that because of the 20, 30 hours of dates that we went on before we actually got into a trial marriage. We talked 20 to 30 hours, I think, is like maybe 20 hours or so before I chose her. So we got so deep with each other. So she was like, it doesn't change how I feel about you, because I can actually see through that. And she actually got to see like me for me and me for like my character. And when that meant everything to me, because when Mildred and I would get in those fights, right? It would just get shoved under the rug. It would just get whatever, or we would just constantly continue to go at each other.
My thing is, and what you're explaining is that your and Mildred's relationship was very like one-dimensional or like two-dimensional, like how therapists like to talk about it. How Sam was seeing you was in a 3-dimensional form. Like, she was seeing all aspects of it. Like, she was looking at you like, okay, cool, like, you have that veil, but I can see past the veil and see what is happening underneath and why X, Y, and Z is happening and why these reactions are the way that they are.
Mm-hmm. And it takes kind of to know someone too to understand that, right? And that's why we did get to know each other. And it going kind of deep with her and being able to, for her to be able to see that, it put my walls down because, and it honestly, like, I know it sounds shitty, but like it kind of took me a push forward of like, what the fuck, you know, towards Sam to understand, oh wow, like this is not Mildred.
Yeah, this is somebody completely different.
And I can be myself. And that is like, that to me was like
a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Like it was such a weight that lifted off my shoulders. Like I could just be myself, and I don't have to fight. I don't have to be on the defense. I don't have to have a guard up.
Flight.
Yeah, I don't have to put my guard up.
No,
I could just be. And like when we went out to dinner, and you see that scene, and we're talking and everything, like, you know, we were at the dinner for like 3 hours, and like, you know, we were able to just really like see our traumas of that we had with our partners and my traumas that I had with our partners. And, you know, it's said in what you see, like Sam was like, hey, you know what? It's our opportunity for these next 3 weeks to take control of the narrative and to be able to have awareness of how we're acting.
So, okay, that brings me into something. So I think it's episode 4 when you guys all kind of go out together. Like you went out with like Lexi and everybody, and then like Mal went out with everybody else, and they were like, hey, like you're dating my partner, like how is it? Like shit talk to me. And it was kind of like nobody really had a lot of shit talking to talk about, and it was like the partners were expecting them to say all of these bad things that they had encountered with their partner, and they were kind of like, are you fucking lying, or are you just trying to be a fucking nice person? Yeah. But my thing is, I think that they were seeing a different side of those individuals because everybody was working on themselves and self-reflecting.
Yeah. But they don't want to hurt anybody.
But you don't want to hurt anybody, but you guys are also living in the past while this person's living in the future with, and I think it's so hard for us to be like, how can this person be so different in a 1 week time span or a 2 week time span versus the person I knew for 2 or 3 years? It's a
very accelerated process. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you just let it flow and you let it go, and you know, you just kind of get to those roads and the bumps whenever you get there and just kind of go along the wave of a normal fucking relationship in society. Here, it's condensed, it's focused, it's your full-time fucking job for 8 weeks. So you are getting uncomfortable very quick. You are talking about things. You're talking about triggers. You're talking about this. You're figuring out what's disagreeing. You're just thrown into a person that you've dated for, or like, you know, for 20 hours. And all of a sudden you're put in situations that you may have showed up differently with your partner. And all of a sudden this person doesn't fucking agree with it. And like, it's a lot. It's condensed. It's accelerated. And lesbians are already accelerated to begin with. So when this is an accelerated process, if lesbians move at 100 miles an hour and you put lesbians on this fucking dating show, you're on a fucking jet plane, dude. You're on a jet plane. The speed of light. Yes, and you're either gonna fucking slam into a fuck.
And that's what I said too. I said the same exact thing. Like, I was like, they fucked up putting a whole bunch of fucking lesbians on a show. Like, they're not gonna all be intimate with each other. Like, they're not gonna, you know, emotionally connect a whole lot quicker. Like, it's just a lot of hormonal, emotional, you know, shit going on, especially when you got couples that are already unhappy coming into this experiment. Like, it's crazy. And I just knew it was going to be like off the fucking wall.
Fucking brick wall? Or you're going to be so liberated and fall in love with somebody. Like, it's wild.
Amazing. That makes me so happy. Yeah. All right, Netflix.
Netflix.
I'm down with it.
So, I think
for 4 through 8.
Yeah, or 5 through 8.
5 through 8.
5 through 8. It's going to be dropping next week. And all I'm saying is just get ready. Get ready.
It's about to rock our boat.
It's about to rock your
motherfucking boat. Wow. For our local fleebs, we're going to be at Gossip Girl on Wednesday the 31st from 6 to 9 p.m.
Wednesday
the 31st. So they're hosting the second viewing.
Yeah, for the watch party.
We have the first one at Diversionary Theater.
All right, y'all. So I'm just going to cut it off right here because they're going to talk about where they're going to be. I think. But it's been a ride. It's been a ride, and I can't wait to go through 5 through 8. I am about to edit this video real quick. I know reaction videos are not supposed to be edited, but I need to put my intro and stuff in here. But it was very eye-opening to see the process of how production does things, because we only know what we see when it's presented to us. So seeing a castmate come and say, this is how this happened, this is what went on, like from my point of view, um, is very interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much, and stay tuned for the next videos I'm going to be reacting to. I love you guys. Bye.